Most people spend their entire lives working for money, but very few ever take the time to understand how money actually works. And here's the problem. When you don't understand the rules of money, you end up playing a game you can never win. You work harder, you feel more stressed, and yet financial freedom seems further and further away. But the good news is this: money is not a mystery, it's a system. And once you learn how that system works, you can use it to your advantage, no matter where you're starting from. That's what financial education is all about. In today's video, we're going back to the basics. I'm going to break down the fundamentals of financial education for beginners in a simple, practical, and motivational way. You'll learn how money flows in your life, why some people stay broke while others build wealth, and the exact principles you can start applying today to take control of your financial future. And don't worry, you don't need a background in economics or a math degree to understand this. I'll explain everything in clear, everyday language with examples you can relate to. By the end of this video, you'll see money differently, and more importantly, you'll feel empowered to make better decisions with it. So if you're ready to stop being controlled by money and start making money work for you, hit the like button, subscribe to Draw My Money, and let's dive into the fundamentals of financial education. Pillar 1. Understand how money flows. The first lesson in financial education is simple but powerful. Money is always moving. It flows in and out of your life like water through a river. If you don't understand where it's coming from and where it's going, you'll always feel like you're chasing it, working harder, but never getting ahead. The wealthy understand that money is a flow to be managed, not just an amount to be earned. Think about this. Most people only focus on income, their paycheck. They say, if I could just make more money, my problems would be solved. But that's not true. How many stories have you heard of lottery winners who were broke again after a few years, or athletes who made millions and ended up in debt? That's because income is only one part of the equation. The secret lies in controlling both the inflows and the outflows of money. Here's a practical example. Let's say you earn $3,000 a month. If you're spending $2,990, you're technically surviving, but you're not building wealth. You're just letting money pass through your hands. But if you manage to control your outflow and spend only $2,500, suddenly you have $500 left over. That $500 becomes the foundation for savings, investments, and ultimately, freedom. The 1% understand this flow like engineers understand water systems. They don't just earn, they direct. They channel money toward assets, toward investments, toward systems that create more inflows in the future. Meanwhile, the average person lets money leak away through unnecessary expenses, debt interest, and impulse purchases. So your first step as a beginner is this: track your money. Follow it like a detective. Where is it coming from? Where is it going? You'll probably be shocked the first time you see how much is leaking out without you realizing it. But awareness is power, because once you see the leaks, you can plug them. Draw my money tip: money is like water. If you don't control the flow, it will slip right through your fingers. Pillar 2. Control your spending. Once you understand how money flows, the next step is to take control of your outflows, your spending. This is where most beginners in financial education struggle, because spending often feels emotional rather than logical. Advertisers know this, which is why they use powerful images, discounts, and even fear of missing out to get you to part with your money. If you don't take control of your spending, someone else will. Here's the truth. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. Think about two people. One earns $10,000 a month, but spends $9,900 on luxury items, debt payments, and random expenses. The other earns $4,000 a month, but lives on $3,000. Who's really wealthier? The second person, because they actually keep a portion of their money and have the power to grow it. Controlling your spending doesn't mean living miserably or cutting out every coffee or small pleasure. It means aligning your expenses with your priorities and goals. Every time you spend, you're making a choice. Do I want short-term satisfaction or long-term freedom? A practical way to do this is the pay yourself first principle. Before you pay bills, buy groceries, or spend on entertainment, put aside a fixed percentage of your income for savings and investments. Treat this like a non-negotiable expense. For example, if you earn $3,000, decide that at least 10%, goes directly into your savings or investment account. What's left is what you use to live. This flips the usual mindset. Instead of saving what's left after spending, you spend what's left after saving. Another powerful tool is creating spending categories. Separate your needs: rent, utilities, groceries from your wants, eating out, shopping, subscriptions. Seeing the difference on paper helps you identify where you can cut back without hurting your quality of life. Draw my money tip. Every dollar you don't control has already been spent by someone else's plan. Take control, or the system will control you. With your spending under control, you've freed up money. The next pillar is all about giving that money a purpose, by building the habit of saving consistently. Pillar 3. Build the habit of saving. Now that you've learned to control your spending, the next step is to make saving a non-negotiable habit. Saving is the bridge between simply surviving and building wealth. It's the foundation that allows you to invest, take opportunities, and protect yourself from unexpected events. Without saving, you're always one emergency away from financial stress. Here's something most people don't realize. Saving is less about the amount and more about the consistency. Even if you can only put away $50 a month at first, the habit of setting money aside trains your brain to think long-term. Over time, as your income grows, you simply scale up the amount. But the habit remains the same, automatic and disciplined. Think of saving like planting seeds. If you plant a few seeds today and water them regularly, in time you'll have a garden. If you wait until you feel ready to start planting, you'll always be behind. The people who build fortunes are not always the ones who save the most in a single month. They're the ones who save consistently, month after month, year after year. Here's a practical approach. Create an emergency fund first. Aim for at least 3 months of essential expenses set aside in a separate savings account. This is your safety net. Once that's secure, start building toward bigger goals. A down payment for a house, seed money for a business, or capital for investing. And here's the key. Make saving automatic. Set up an automatic transfer that moves money from your checking account to your savings account every payday. That way, saving doesn't depend on willpower. It happens whether you think about it or not. Draw my money tip. Saving money is not about what you have left. It's about what you decide to keep first. Once you've built the habit of saving, you're ready for the next pillar. Understanding debt and how to manage it wisely, so it stops draining your future wealth. Pillar 4. Understand and manage debt. Is one of the most misunderstood parts of personal finance. For many people, it's the very reason they feel trapped, living paycheck to paycheck with no clear way out. And here's the hard truth. Debt doesn't just take your money. It takes your time, your freedom, and sometimes even your peace of mind. That's why learning how debt works and how to manage it is a fundamental pillar of financial education. The first thing you need to know is the difference between bad debt and good debt. Bad debt is any money you borrow that doesn't create value or generate income. Credit card balances, payday loans, or financing luxury items fall into this category. These debts are dangerous because they often carry extremely high interest rates, sometimes 20% or more, which means the longer you keep them, the bigger the hole gets. Good debt, on the other hand, is borrowing that helps you build assets or increase your earning potential. A mortgage for a home that appreciates in value, a student loan for education that raises your income, or a business loan that funds a profitable idea, can all be considered good debt, but only if they're used wisely and managed carefully. Here's the math most people ignore. If you owe $5,000 on a credit card with a 20% interest rate, and you only make the minimum payments, you could end up paying back more than double what you borrowed. That's money that could have been working for you in investments, but instead, it's enriching the bank. So how do you manage debt as a beginner? Start by writing down exactly what you owe, balances, interest rates, and minimum payments. Face the numbers. Then choose a strategy, either the avalanche method, paying off the highest interest debt first to save the most money, or the snowball method, paying off the smallest balance first to build momentum and motivation. Pillar 5. Start investing to build wealth. Saving money will give you security, and paying off debt will give you freedom. But if you want true wealth, you need to invest. Investing is the step where your money stops working part-time and starts working full-time. Instead of you trading hours for dollars, your money becomes an employee that never sleeps, never takes vacations, and keeps generating more money around the clock. The first concept you must understand is compound growth. Imagine planting a single tree. That tree grows and produces fruit. You take the seeds from that fruit, plant them, and now you have more trees. Over time, you don't just have one tree, you have an entire forest. That's what compound interest does with your money. The earlier you start investing, the more powerful this effect becomes. Let's put some numbers to it. If you invest $200 every month and earn an average return of 7% per year, in just 10 years, you could have nearly $35,000. Keep going for 20 years, and you'll have almost $100,000. That's the magic of time and consistency. Most of the growth comes from your money earning more money. So, where should a beginner start? One of the best options is low-cost index funds or ETFs that track the overall stock market. They offer diversification, meaning your money is spread across many companies, reducing risk while giving you steady growth over time. If you're in the US, using accounts like a 401k or IRA can also give you tax advantages while you invest. But investing isn't just about stocks. You can also explore real estate, which provides both appreciation and rental income, or even starting a small business, which can give you the highest returns if done wisely. The key is to start where you are, learn as you go, and never invest in something you don't understand. You now have the 5 essential pillars of financial education that every beginner needs to master. Understand how money flows, control your spending, build a habit of saving, manage debt wisely, and start investing to build wealth. Each of these on its own is powerful, but together they form a complete system that can transform your financial life, no matter where you're starting from. Here's the truth: most people will never apply this knowledge. They'll nod their heads, feel inspired for a moment, and then go right back to living paycheck to paycheck. But that doesn't have to be your story. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who build wealth isn't luck, it's action. So here's my challenge. Before this day ends, pick one pillar and take action on it. Track your expenses, set aside your first $50 in savings, make an extra payment on your debt, or open your first investment account. Small actions build momentum, and momentum builds transformation. If this video gave you clarity and motivation, hit the like button, subscribe to Draw My Money, and share it with someone who needs this message. And remember, money is not something to be feared or avoided, it's a tool. And when you learn to use that tool wisely, you stop just surviving and start truly thriving.